Hi everybody, it's Kathy. I wanted to go through a demonstration on how to set up that title block. This is going to be an 18 by 24 sized architectural C title block. And we will be using our previous project to pull some of that title block information into our new title block setup. You could also use a template if you wish. If you already have a template set up with your preferred text styles, dimension styles, and layers, you can always start with a template drawing, but we want it to have nothing in the model space, and we're starting with no layouts set up yet. So in order for me to show you how to start from scratch, we're just going to start a new drawing. And that new drawing is going to be with the architectural template. So mine automatically opened, but you want to, if you do select a template, you would want to start with the architectural template. So here we have the blank model space. We don't have anything set up. We have the two layout tabs. We're not going to click on those yet. But the first thing we want to do is set our units to architectural. So in the command line, go ahead and type in units. You can also go over to here to your status bar, click the down arrow here, and change the current units from decimal to architectural. But we're going to do it using the command line. And that gives us the full dialog box here. We just want to click on the down arrow to get the architectural option. And let's change our precision to 0. And go ahead and click OK. So now our drawing is in architectural units. We're not going to be using model space right now, so we're not going to set up the limits or do anything with model space at the moment. So the next thing that we want to do is select the layout number 1. And in layout number 1, you're always automatically going to get your page setup manager if it's the first time that you've attempted to go into your layout at all. So in our page setup manager, we're going to go ahead and click new and create an 18 by 24 layout setup so that we can use that in all of our layouts that are to follow. If you didn't get this page setup manager dialog box, you can always go up to your applications menu and look for the page setup manager icon and go ahead and click on that, and you'll get the same box as dialog box. So let's go ahead and click new, and we want to name this setup 18 by 24, and I'm putting a P after it so that I know that this is my paper space setup, because you can set up print page setups in model space, but we don't want to do that. We want to do this in layout space. So I'm going to make sure I put a P there so I know that it's my paper space layout. Go ahead and click OK. And now here's where we are going to set up all the information that we want to have saved for our 18 by 24 paper space layout. We want to set this to Adobe PDF. Now, if you don't find Adobe PDF on your computer, you can also use the DWG to PDF option. You would need to have Adobe products set up on your computer in order to find the Adobe PDF. So in our classroom, we have this, so we're going to use Adobe PDF. For the paper size, we want to select Architecture C, Arch C. That's going to show automatically that we have the 18 by 24 size setup. We're going to leave our plot area to layout, and we'll come back and change that so that we have our title block centered after we're finished. The plot style, we want to select monochrome, and we want to leave our plot scale at 1:1. We don't change that when we're in paper space. Make sure that it says landscape, and then click OK. And then we want to set current. So you may have noticed that suddenly we have a very small border around the edges, and we have a viewport that was automatically set up inside our 18 by 24 layout space. Go ahead and select that viewport so that you can see the grips, and then just hit the delete button on your keyboard. We're not going to be using that viewport, so we're going to go ahead and delete it. Okay, so next we're going to set up a couple of layers that we're going to be using in order to draw the border lines on our title block. And so we want to go to the Home tab and then click on Layer Properties. In the Layer Properties dialog, we can select this icon, which is the New Layer icon. And we're starting with the 0 layer, and click on New Layer. Our first new layer is going to be title block lines, and I want to use caps. And then we want to leave this as color black, continuous. It's going to be visible, so we do not want to click on freeze or any of these other things. Next, we want to add a second new layer, and we started with the title block layer. This one is going to be called title block text. And those are the two layers that we're going to be using at the moment. So once those are selected, everything remains the same. We want it to be the white color continuous, and everything else remains the same. Once we have those two layers created, we're going to click the X arrow to close that dialog box. Next, we're going to create a text style, and we're going to call this text style title block. And this is one that we're going to be able to use in Paperspace. It is not annotative, and we're going to set it up with a height of 0, which means that as we start to insert that text in Paperspace, we can tell the command of text what size we want it to be. So we have pretty much any option we want for the size of that text. So in order to do that, we're going to go to the Annotate tab and use your flyout menu here to get all of the text style dialog information. We're going to start with the standard style and click New. Do not start with annotative, start with standard. New. And we're going to call this title block. So it'll be our title block text style. Click OK. Here we want to change this to New Times Roman, and you can set up as many text styles as you wish, or sorry, Times New Roman, with any of these text font options, but this one's going to be Times New Roman. And we want to set this up to be bold, non-annotative, so do not check this, and leave the height at 0. Go ahead and hit Apply, Set Current, and Close. Okay, so you can see that we have the title block text here. We want to go to our Home tab and select the layer title block lines. And our title block lines are going to be our borders. So I want to create an outer border, which is going to be my guideline so that I know that I have my page setup correct. And then we're going to create an inside border, which is the one that's going to actually print when we print our pages. So let's choose the rectangle command. And our first point is going to be 0, 0. So you can type in 0, 0, and then enter. You can see that now my rectangle is going to be starting exactly where my page cutoff is, where that dashed line is. The other point, I want it to be up here, and this is going to be 24 inches, 18 inches. And so you can see that my 18 by 24 size is the paper size that I'm looking for. It's slightly off the edge of the paper that you would see here. So the 0 point is slightly off of the Architectural C setup, and we'll fix that in just a little bit. Our next step is to offset our outer border 1/2 inch. And so we go to the offset command, and our through distance is 1/2 inch. You hit enter, and then select the outer border that we created, that rectangle, and drag your cursor to the inside of your paper and left click enter. So now we have our outer edge, which indicates the size of the paper. We have the inner edge, which indicates our actual border. Now I want to create a right-hand border along the right-hand edge, and I want to offset this line. So in order to do that, I first have to explode my rectangle. So click on the explode command, select the rectangle, and hit enter. Then we'll offset command again, so offset. This time we're going to offset 2 inches to create our border area. So you type in 2 inches as your through distance, select the line, drag it to the inside of your paper, and left click. So this is going to be our border area. I'm sorry, this is going to be our title block area, and this is going to be our border all the way around. Okay, so here's where I'm going to bring in some information from my previous project. And I do want to make sure I'm still in my title block lines. Actually, I want to change my current layer to the 0 layer. Sorry, to the 0 layer. So I want to be on the 0 layer as my current layer. And I'm going to go into my other project drawing, and I did have a title block here, but it's the wrong size. It's 11 by 17. This is where I want to actually steal some information from this title block. So I'm going to go ahead and put a crossing box around some of the information that I want to take from this title block. And I'm going to do a Control C, which is a copy to clipboard. And then I'm going to move back into my current setup here, and I'm going to do a Control V, paste, and I want to select this bottom corner here to paste this information in. So by doing so, I've brought in my scale information, my page name area, my date area, my north arrow, and my sheet number. And this I can edit as I go along. So right now this is probably really going to be sheet ID 1. So I'll just go ahead and change that right now. And then in this area here at the top, I wanted to put the Chafee college information. So again, I'm going to go back to my previous project, and I want to select this title block information. Oops. I'm going to zoom in, crossing window, select just this information that I want, Control C, and then go back into my title block drawing that I'm creating and place this information into the area here. It's going to snap to the endpoint, so I'm going to undo my F3. I don't want it to snap there. And I'll adjust the lines and the centering when I'm ready. Let's go ahead and edit this text. It's fall 2018 now. And the section number for our course, we'll add that section number, which is I'm getting the text edit box. Section number is 02820. And so that can stay in your title block. Close the editor. That can stay in your title block, and that will be correct for the rest of your projects that you do in this class. A couple more things. Let's move our lines onto the correct layer. So this one, I want to switch it to the text block lines layer. The text, I want to switch to the text block text layer, and you can see that it's going to turn black once I do that. And then I'll select these lines. And again, the way that you move to a new layer is just to go ahead and select the items and then select the correct layer. And then we'll do the same thing with all the text here. And our north arrow. And then go up and select the correct title block text. Okay, so this is basically set up, except that we want to put our large title here, title of the project. You can add other areas into this title block as you wish. All right, so let's add that large title block here that indicates the name of our project. And the way to do that is to make sure we have the title block selected as our text style. And then we want a single line text. So we click on single line text. We pick a spot to justify, and we'll adjust our text later. But you can also select the justify. And we want it to be bottom center. And so we're going to select right here, right in the middle. And the text height, we want it to be 1/2 inch. So type in 1/2 inch here. The rotation, we want it to be 90 degrees for this title block. And here we're going to type in commercial project. And it's our project number 2. So I'm just going to add 2 to that. Click anywhere outside. And we're going to have to move it. The bottom center didn't work, the justification. So select it and drag it to where you want it to be in your title block. And you're all set. You need to save this as your title block with your last name, first initial. And then let's go back to our page setup. Once you bring this into your drawing, you'll need to do this part for each time you add it to a layout. So let's go back and reiterate how we want to make sure that this is going to look centered. So we'll go to the Applications menu. The flyout menu next to Print is going to give you the Page Setup Manager again. And we want to switch to the 18 by 24 Page Setup, Set Current. And it looks like we still need to go ahead and modify this. So the way to modify it to make sure that it's centered is you would go to the plot area, and instead of layout, we want to change this to window, and make sure you have your object snap on, and we want to snap to the inside border, bottom left and top right corners, and we want to select center the plot. Preview this to make sure that everything is going to plot centered. So notice our outer line is not going to print and our inner border line is. So this is all that you will see when you plot these pages. So it is complete. We want to hit the enter button and OK. And it says you've just edited reference additional layers in the current drawing. Would you like to update all layouts that reference this page setup? And you want to say yes. Set current and close. Now this title block is set up perfectly, and when you are using this title block, you can insert this title block or copy paste it into your commercial project under each layout. You may have to redo your window and center it each time, but once you've set it up in your page setup, it will remember that, and you'll always have that page setup ready to go for this title block. So that's all for now, and the next thing I'm going to show you is how to create and edit schedules. Thanks for watching. Bye.